I'm Mika Coleman, and I'm with Leverage, Tax Deed, and Overages. And today I want to talk about, can AI find the best tax deed deals? I know you guys are probably curious because I was curious, and so I wanted to share my insight. Trying to really invest this first quarter of the year doing tax deed investing only, and then venturing off to overages because I did a lot of overages at the end of the year. So I was like, let me just focus on tax deeds and see what I can get at the beginning of the year. And one of the things, because everybody's doing AI and everybody's talking about AI is going to replace jobs, and I'm like, well, shoot, can AI replace the research time that I have to do with tax deeds and lower my research in regards to like finding new counties, where to look for good tax deeds. And here's what my 2 cents. And I always tell people, my opinion is my opinion. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's fact. It's just from what I've experienced and what I've done and the research. It was interesting how AI like broke down what were the best tax deed states, and one of the ways they did it like by like high inventory or high volume. They broke it down, like the AI broke it down like that, and then also too like what are like the best redeemable states, and they did have Texas on there, you guys, and I was like, okay, I was like, so why is this the best redeemable state? Excuse me. And they were saying because there was more frequency. So they said Texas and Georgia were the best redeemable states to do tax deed investing. And I was like, now, and that's why, and then it gives you, AI always, you could either ask it more questions or to give you why it said that. And it was just saying because of the frequency and the inventory, and there's a lot of urban areas and all this yada, yada, yada. But in my opinion, I was like, I don't know if this is like the best, because in Georgia, I know you gotta like wait a whole freaking year. Like, who wants to wait a year to like wait for somebody to come back and get the property? Like, for me, if I'm buying a property and I'm getting a deed, I want it like today, like, or within the next 90 days, So I didn't really agree with AI on the best tax deed deals. But I did want to agree with them when they were saying some of the best places to do tax deeds. They mentioned a few states that I haven't even actually dealt with yet. And so because AI said it, now I'm curious, because I'm like, so 2 of the states, I was like, okay, everybody knows about Michigan. So I was like, duh. But one of the states was Minnesota, and I haven't even touched Minnesota. So I was like, maybe Minnesota might be a good place. And the reason why they're saying Minnesota and Michigan, of course, is because it's cheap and they have a lot of inventory. However, when I look at opportunities like that, I don't know if there are people out there that just want to say, I just want to own I own 5 properties, and so what? Like, okay, you could get 5 properties for less than $5,000. Then what? So I always I don't know too much about Minnesota, but I'm not going to speak on that. But Detroit, I hear Detroit has doing some, they did a shift and they're revamping a lot of places, but I'm like, to me, it's not known for high returns. I think it's more of a state for, buy and holding, because I'm quite sure you can always find somebody to rent, but the stuff is crappy. Like, I always tell people, if your budget's between, $500 to $2,000, $3,000, one or two things is happening. You're either going to get a dilapidated property or you're going to get a piece of land. Now, with all these tiny homes and stuff, I think land is very valuable right now, but it also depends on where you are buying that, because some counties do not allow you to have tiny houses. Like, it has to be zoned for that. So I say that all to say, when it comes to tax deed investing and using AI, is it a good tool? I would say it's 50-50, especially for newbies, because it will take you down the rabbit hole and you'll be like, this rabbit hole is not cool. And you'll be thinking you're going into a good area, but there's so many other intricate details that I don't think AI knows about. Like, for example, like Georgia, yeah, I agree, it is a good redeemable state, just like Texas. However, what makes it the best redeemable state when you gotta wait a year? You know, in Texas, it's 6 months if it's not homestead, and it's actually a year if it's homestead. But I've been doing this for a long time. A lot of properties aren't homestead. A lot of people are not familiar or don't know what homestead is, so you don't really have to worry about that. But I do have to say, I would agree with AI when it comes to Georgia. When I went down there and did Cobb County, I did not invest in the auction, but when I went to go look at the properties that was on the auction, there were some decent properties, better than Texas. So that I could agree with AI on. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about investing, tax deed investing with AI, I guess. If you like this video, please comment, share, and hit that subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Happy investing.